You're an informed person, and this is a public service broadcaster. Let's look into that data a bit more. When was this survey taken? June. When did Year of Our Island really take off in terms of encouraging people outside? It was then and thereafter. So what I would be really disappointed with if next year we hadn't improved that score through the things we've been doing with ROCs that you can go and search for, with the things that the Department for Enterprise has been doing.
There was a big
with
effort
Fairwood
made to
Castle.
try and improve people going out,
And it
wasn't
is still being made, and it's incredibly important that people go out. But I don't disbelieve those figures. Those figures are accurate because this is a valid sample, and we've now got to have the policy responses, the proper policy responses in the light of the evidence that we've got from the population. Let me just go back to Mr. Hooper's interview and to give Manx Radio a compliment. This morning we had a really good programme based on the Chief Constable's report. We actually looked at all of the issues around it, and you quoted from lots of people. This debate about the programme for government is turning into Laurie Hooper versus Chris Thomas, and that's not the way it should be looked at. Last week it was Chris Robertshaw versus the Chief Minister. What we need to get across is exactly what the 6 main objectives of our programme for government are and how we're delivering them. Laurie Hooper is wrong. The whole programme for government in itself is prioritised. It's not just a statement of business as usual for the public service. We are reforming the public service, and the programme for government is helping us do that.
Well, there seem to be, though, an awful lot of PR people in government, a lot of spin going. Practically every department has a PR person. Is there too much? Every time some bad news comes out, it's sort of put under a cloak and some good attitude put out. Is that what people can't really accept? They want to hear what's really happening.
No, disappointing that, John, in 2 ways. First of all, we don't have a PR person in every department. We now have a centralised function, and it is no larger than it was 2 or 3 years ago. We've perhaps got one more person, but that's to do with the way that the roles are divided up. Secondly, we don't spin in government. What we do try to do now, as I said in Tynwald very clearly, is we tell it as it is. I would say that the last administration was more presented things more as a curate's egg, and I'm talking about it in the original meaning of the word. You know, it was partly good and partly bad, and you can't have a partly good and partly bad egg. If you have any part of an egg that's bad, the whole thing's bad.
So you're happy the government's going in the right direction mid-term?
Yes, I am happy that the government's going in the right direction, and what we've done is we've now tell it as it is. What we've done is we don't focus on good numbers only. We try and explain the bad numbers. Look, remember here, John, we've published the social attitude survey. This is the 3rd of annual social attitude surveys. We're now telling people what you say about us. Isn't that open and transparent? The programme for government has provided a structure for framework. We probably do need a public reform framework alongside the programme for government, and I really do hope that the public can come to understand better.
Can I just raise one specific topic with you, and that's road safety? The survey said 47% in the survey said speeding is an issue. That does mean that 47%, that a big half of them actually are happy with things. But is speeding an issue, and what can you do about it?
Yeah, well, that's a very specific point. We'll have a really good debate on road safety early in the year. There's loads in the social attitude survey to help us transform health, to help us transform all the other ideas. But I want to try to end this interview by stating very clearly exactly what the programme for government main message is. At the core, this government is aiming to put more money in people's pockets. It's aiming to create good employment. It's aiming to have more enterprises on the island. And if we do that, the financial structural deficit will be dealt with. We'll be able to make choices about public provision that we can deliver in line with the people. And next year we'll be talking about an improved confidence in this government.
Yeah, I would like to end the interview myself by saying, do you think measures need to be taken to improve the confidence of the people in the government they have?
And it's not a few more brochures, and it's not a few more roadshows.
We do get a lot of them, don't we?
It's all of those things, but most importantly, I want to engage with the public service broadcaster, engage with the general public through appropriate medium to make sure the people understand what their Tynwald and their government is doing on their behalf. And if we got it wrong, let's be humble and admit we've got it wrong. But most importantly, let's make sure the debate is informed, and let's make sure we have a proper debate rather than just shouting at each other across the floor of the Tynwald. I also want to end with paying a compliment to Mr. Hooper, because together in a small committee we've worked together brilliantly on a really fundamental thing like gas regulation and gas prices, and that will be a really important debate what we have in January. What's been going on for the last 2 years is people working together together. We don't need Boris Johnson types in the Isle of Man politics. What we need people who work together to actually make a real difference, because we've got major challenges and we've got to face up to them.